Ladies and gentlemen, I was born in a small town in India. I came here for my grad school. During my first winter here in Rochester, I was talking with my family over Skype. I wanted to show them the beautiful snow. Most people in my family had never seen snow. You know, back in my country, it's usually warm in the winter, hot during the spring, and in the summer. So I showed them this gorgeous white snow outside the window, and everyone was like, wow, it's amazing, it's beautiful. I want to be there, I want to be there, I want to be there. And my mother, the first thing she said, do you have a proper jacket? Do you have a blanket? When I hung up my phone, I realized everyone was so amazed by the beauty of snow. But my mother, she couldn't think of anything beyond me, beyond my comfort. That's so amazing. That's the beauty of love. Madam Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, on that same night, I saw a nightmare. In my nightmare, I was sitting on a toilet seat. And I suddenly hear some strange noises. I look at the top. I look left. I look right. I see nothing. Then I look down. I find that the toilet seat is expanding. And I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down. And as soon as the first drop of water touches my rear, I scream. And if you've ever had a nightmare, you would know that in moments like these, your voice doesn't come out. I woke up to realize that it was a nightmare. Next day, I had a nightmare again. This time, not so crazy. I see that I'm failing. I'm failing in everything. This is very strange. I wake up again. A few days later, I see this nightmare again. I'm failing. I'm failing in everything. I wake up again. Is this fear? Is this nightmare a fear? The very next day, I saw this man with no hands and no legs in TV. His name is Nick Vujicic. A man with no hands and no legs. But I can bet you one thing. You will not find many people happier than this man. He goes to the swimming pool without hands, without legs, he tries to swim. He goes to the soccer court without legs, he tries to play soccer. Never regrets for whatever he is. Now, I want to share one line which he said in one of his seminars. When he was young, he used to feel, no girl will ever marry me. Nobody will love me. How can a girl marry me when I can't even hold her hands? I can't even touch her hands. But you know what? After these long years, I realized one thing. I may not hold her hands. I may not touch her hands. But I will touch her heart. I will touch her heart. No matter who you are, no matter how you are beautiful. Believe in yourself. This man had a huge impact in my life. My fears started disappearing. My nightmares turned into dreams. Now, human beings have a tendency of not believing someone so easily. Neither did I. However, this man with no hands and no legs showed me the path to find me in me. And that is the only way you'll find all your answers. So fear not. Take out that brush from your heart. Paint all these nightmares with colors of love, with colors of courage, with colors of belief. Fear not. Mr. Constable.
Our perspective, our outlook on life is the single most important determinant in whether or not we're happy in everyday life. Toastmasters, guests, and especially Manas, the speech you shared with us today was a great illustration of the power of perspective. You started out with a story explaining the fears you were having, and you used a great tool of humor to help keep the audience interested. The way you explained a nightmare, a terrifying situation, where you were in a bathroom, sitting on a toilet seat, slowly sinking down. It was very funny. And we all know the fear of a nightmare where we're trying to scream and get away from the situation, but we can't let it out. We're trapped inside. We're holding the fear in. And so that was an effective tool to explain the problem of perspective. And then you provided a great solution for us with the illustration of the man who had no arms and legs and yet chose to be happy in everyday life. Circumstances that all of us take for granted, and no one would blame him for being negative or having a poor attitude. But he chose to overcome those obstacles for the better and influence people around him. So you had a great description of the problem and a great solution to the problem. One thing I think you could have used to improve the speech that would have added to it would be to explain how you applied that lesson in your life, how you improved your perspective in your interactions with other people and the impact that had on you and those around you. I think that would have made it a more personal connection with the audience and helped them to relate to the lesson on how perspective made a big difference in your life. You had a great organization, going problem, solution. You used humor effectively. And I thank you for your speech today because it's a great reminder of the power of perspective, and it's something I'll be remembering in the days to come. Mr. Contest Master?
Final contestant from this afternoon, please help me welcome Nathan Rathman. Now Nathan, what club are you a part of?
I am with MCC Toastmasters.
And how long have you been?
A little over 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Now, what do you love about MCC Toastmasters?
What I love about MCC Toastmasters is that whenever I go in, no matter what mood I'm in, I always leave feeling happy and energized. You mentioned it a little before, and I've heard other people say that about the club too. So it's always a fun time. It's always worth going.
Now, let's see here. You're not a first timer for contests. Tell us a little bit about why you choose it.
Competing is a great opportunity to learn. Last year, I competed in the Humorous speech contest, and I was able to advance to the district level, and that was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I hadn't gotten even my CC yet, so it was a great learning experience to get up there in front of a big crowd. So contests are a great way to learn and to apply what you do in a club each week.
Absolutely. So you knew Toastmasters out there. He didn't even have a CC, and he was making his way up to the district. So it's definitely something that you can consider no matter how long you've been Toastmasters. Using your story as an example. And I'm going to ask the same question. What's your philosophy when you go into an evaluation?
When I look for things to evaluate, I try not to focus on the simple things. As I was a new Toastmaster recently, that was kind of the first thing I looked towards, but through watching other people evaluate, I found that I try to look towards something in the content to help them improve their speech, so that's my approach.
So there's that low-hanging fruit of the simple things, and then you kind of try to reach a little higher.
I try to.
Or we got the feedback from try, do. So you do reach a little higher. And here's your certificate of participation for reaching higher. Thanks for that.
Please help me welcome our first speaker, Bob Halsworth. Axioms. Axioms, Bob Halsworth.
So I was driving to work the other day. I'm listening to the radio, and the DJ says, well, you know, laughter is the best medicine. And I'm thinking to myself, well, apparently this guy has never heard of antibiotics. Madam Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests, one of my pet peeves is when people take tired, old cliches and try to pass them off as wisdom. And when they take it to extremes, always, nothing, the best, it's the worst. Laughter is the best medicine. Really? Picture a polio research lab in 1950. The supervisor is having a status meeting. He addresses the crowd. Okay, people, we got to address this polio situation and we got to get it right away. Jonas Salk, what have you got for me? Well, I'm working on a vaccine which I believe will eradicate polio from the face of the earth. Okay. Guess I see where you're going with that. I was hoping for something a little more concrete. What have you got for us, Shecky? I've been writing jokes about women drivers and traveling salesmen. It's the 50s. I like it. You can learn something from this guy, Jonas. Laughter is the best medicine. So we know that's ridiculous. So in my mind, I'm trying to think of where does that expression even come from then? It must have made sense to somebody because it's been repeated over and over. So I started to think, well, maybe if you just go back in time to a place where it really was the best medicine. You just picture yourself lying on the ground, dying of a really bad saber-toothed tiger bite. In that moment, you might appreciate a good knock-knock joke. In lieu of morphine. But there's a ton of them like that. Nothing good happens after midnight. Who's ever heard that before? Nothing good happens after midnight. Whoever wrote that never stayed up for the second set of a blues band at the Dinosaur Barbecue. I'll tell you that much. How many people here have ever had the good fortune that at one point in their life, they went to a party and they met somebody brand new and they hit it off so well that they wound up talking until the sun came up? Anybody? We got a lot of happy people. But how many of you were kicking yourself the next day because what you really needed was a good night's sleep? We got one. I think the irony of that whole statement, nothing good happens after midnight, is that a lot of those people, if that were true, wouldn't even be here. That's a Mac joke. They say that dogs are man's best friend, his best friend. Really? Personally, I've never known a dog that would help me move my couch, let alone a dead body. Never had to move a dead body, but I like knowing I've got some guys who would be there for me. Think about somebody who you really consider to be your best friend. And now imagine asserting yourself as master in that relationship. You decide what and when they're going to eat. Every day you go to work and you lock them in a house for 9 hours with no bathroom. You and you alone decide whether or not they're going to be allowed to procreate. John, I've got some great news. I'm not going to have you neutered. I've even arranged a few special play dates for you. Of course, I am going to sell your kids. You know, in the younger, formative days of my youth, the movie Love Story taught me that love means never having to say you're sorry. And I bought into that. Eventually, I had my first real girlfriend, and despite all the repeated hints and reminders, I completely forgot her birthday. And my immediate response, once I realized my mistake, was to apologize. But on the other hand, I loved her, and I didn't want to send the wrong message. Love means never having to say you're sorry. How many people here are married? Most people. How long have you been married?
25 years.
25 years. That's impressive. In those 25 years, have you ever screwed up?
Many, many times.
Many times. And if you think of one instance, was your response, she'll get over it?
If it was, I woke up a few days later. No.
It's a good lesson. They say that honesty is the best policy. I don't know about you, but I don't need to know everything that people are thinking about me at every moment. A little truth goes a long way. I'm getting ready to come here today, and my daughter says, "Your face looks puffy." Well, go inside and change it. I think whoever wrote that is probably the kind of guy who would turn to a little child and say, "No, Virginia, there is no Santa Claus." Hey, come back, I want to tell you about the tooth fairy. Look, I'm not going to deny anybody their favorite axioms. All I'm saying is we got carried away somewhere down the line, and a lot of these need a reboot. It's time for Axioms 2.0. I think if we all work together, we can go out into the world and make a difference today. Consider this. Laughter is better than nothing. Some good things happen after midnight. Dogs are cool. Love means forever having to say you're sorry. And honesty is the best policy once all other options are exhausted. Madam Contest Master.
Kenyatta da Costa, I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson, Kenyatta da Costa.
The first girl I actively pursued in dating was Adriana. We were in college. Madam Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. I'm going to share with you how I learned my lesson. We were in the same math class, and I thought maybe I'll ask her on a date. So I asked her, "Adriana, want to see a movie this weekend?" She said, "No, because she had a test coming up." Now, she didn't offer any counter possibilities, so I could have taken that as a hint that maybe she didn't want to see a movie with me. But I didn't. I thought, no problem, I'll just ask her next weekend. So next weekend came around, and I asked her, "Adriana, would you like to see a movie with me?" And she said no, because she had a couple papers that she really had to start working on. Now, come on, this is college. When doesn't someone have a couple papers or a test coming up? So I could have taken that as clue number 2. But I didn't. I thought, that's inconvenient. I could have saved myself a whole week of suspense if I just asked her the previous week whether or not she was going to be available this weekend. So putting what I learned to use, right away, I asked her, "So how about next weekend?" Well, this look of confusion came over her face. And she said, "I might be going home next weekend, so I don't think I should make any plans." Now, I realize now that she didn't want to make any plans with me. And I probably should have felt pretty dejected. But I didn't. I thought, gee, busy for 3 weekends in a row. What are the chances of that? Talk about bad timing. So a couple weeks go by, and I thought, now might be a good time. "Adriana, yeah. Want to see a movie with me?" And that's when she broke it down. I realize now that on the previous occasions, she had tried to spare my ego. She had been nice and gentle about it. And did I let her spare my ego? No, No, I did not. If you want to reject me, you've got to spell it to my face so I can understand. She said, Kenyatta, you're real nice and everything, and it's not that I don't like you, but I really like someone else. I had to think about that. Not that she doesn't like me, but the guy she likes isn't me. Okay. Okay. Now we were in the same math class, so I should have talked about math and left the whole dating subject alone. But I couldn't change subjects fast enough. And just to let her know, there were no hard feelings. You know what I said? I said, I understand. But if you ever want to see a movie, just let me know. It's not me. Little did I know what I'd set up. The next day in math class, I said hi. And she said hi back. And what I clearly understood was hi. And no, I don't want to see a movie. And a couple days later, I asked to see her homework problem, and she said, sure, you can see how I did that problem. And what I clearly understood was, sure, you can see how I did that problem. And no, I still don't want to see a movie with you. Now, I think she knew what was going on. But what could she do? Could she say, Kenyatta, I'd like to bring some closure to the situation. I thought about it, and I'm pretty sure I won't ever want to see a movie with her. She wouldn't do that. She was too nice. And what can I do? Can I say, Adriana, you know how I said anytime you want to see a movie, let me know? I'd take it back. I couldn't do that. I had stumbled across, or invented, depending upon which way you look at it, the never-ending, passive, unretractable rejection. Nothing had to be said, and it just kept on going. You know, it's been 10 years, and she still hasn't asked me to see a movie. Well, I learned my lesson. From now on, if there's someone I'm interested in, I let them know right off the bat. This isn't my first rodeo. And I know what I'm doing. If there's someone I like, I walk right up to her. And I say, hey, my name's Kenyatta. And I'd like to make things awkward with you. And contest match.
Steve, 7E, reasonable advice. Reasonable advice, Steve, 7E.
I am here to help you. Since the dawn of the ages, man has been plagued with seemingly unanswerable questions. What is the meaning of life? What is the secret to happiness? And does this dress make me look fat? Madam Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. That third question has plagued man since the dawn of time. It is the question of all questions, and I have found the answer to it. And I know what you're thinking. How did someone with seemingly below average intelligence, a borderline lazy personality, draw the conclusion to an unanswerable question? I mean, let's take a moment and categorize this. If we stack rank some of the greatest discoveries, like landing on the moon would be here, the discovery of America would be here, and I would be right here, somewhere right in the middle. And I'd like to walk you through first how I came to the conclusion and then what the conclusion is. So over the course of the last month, I've been conducting employee interviews. So I've interviewed over 130 people who were looking for employment. And what I've noticed is that men and women have very distinct definitions of what dress code is. And for men, it's extremely easy for them to dress because they are either correct or incorrect. But for women, there's correct, and then there's incorrect, and then there's a huge gray area. And this is where most women live, in the gray area. And that's okay. We want them to be there. Those are fashion divas. They're pushing fashion into the next millennium, which is great. We're happy for them. But when you come to work, we of course need you to make sure that you're more towards the correct than the incorrect. And women don't just have skirts, they have to have skirts, they have skirts also. They don't just have slacks, they have to have leggings, they have yoga pants, they have warm-up pants, they have joggers. There's a million different varieties of every piece of clothing that they have. And realistically, the only way to tell the difference is to touch it. And you can imagine the conversation that HR had with me the first time I did that. Now, let's get on to the discovery. During one of my interviews, I was interviewing a young lady. We were about 25 minutes in. The interview took about 45 minutes total. And what I noticed, at about the 25-minute mark, something caught my eye. And what I noticed is that her black dress had a very large gold zipper all the way down the front of it. And I started to think about it because it was extremely large for the front, and it made me kind of wonder, what is that doing there? And what I realized, and I mean, this is ridiculous because you can't make this up. What I realized is that she was actually wearing her dress backwards. And then my mind started to wander. Because why would somebody do that? And I came up with a few conclusions. First, it's possible that she was on her way to the interview and she spilled something down the front of her dress. So she very innovatively turned it around, which is very possible. Second, it's possible that she doesn't have a friend. Also, very possible. And lastly, and this is the theory that I subscribe to, I feel that she was laying in bed the morning of her interview, and she said, what in my wardrobe is going to make me look the most professional? And as she was laying there, she thought, my black dress with the gold zipper. And the reason I like this theory is because that means she's worn this before. And she's worn it backwards. And she thinks that looks good, and that is her most professional outfit. And as I was coming to these conclusions, mind you, while she was talking, I started to realize now everything really makes sense. A backwards dress, this is why you didn't bring your resume with you, this is why you were 10 minutes late to the interview, this is why your answers to the questions are just a little weird. It's all starting to make sense. And what I realized, so the answer to the question, does this dress make me look fat? The answer is, I don't understand women's fashion. And the reason that that is the correct answer is because it's the truth. Men can't understand women's fashion. It's not possible. Because women don't understand it. If women understood women's fashion, they wouldn't be asking a man for their advice. So let's walk through some scenarios. Do these shoes match this dress? I don't understand women's fashion. If I wear this skirt tonight, am I going to be cold? I don't understand women's fashion. Does this dress make me look fat? Yes. I mean, I don't understand women's fashion. Matter of contest.
Susan Munn. All boys are the same. All boys are the same. Susan Munn.
I have two boys. My older son, Zachary, is 5 years old, and my younger son, Gregory, recently turned 2. When I tell people that I have 2 boys, I get a variety of responses. Many of these responses are sympathetic, or fake, or inappropriate. Do you wish you had a girl? These types of responses beg the question, why do people think it's so bad to have 2 boys? Do they think that all boys are difficult? Or all boys are wild and crazy? Or all boys are dirty and disgusting? It boils down to one thing. Some people seem to believe that all boys are the same. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, today I thought I'd address this theory through examples of my 2 boys. My older son, Zach, was the world's most well-behaved child until he turned 3. And then he realized he had a choice. I would never use those words to describe Greg. Greg knew he had a choice from day 1. His first word was no, and he uses it more than all the other words in his vocabulary combined. When I say, Greggy, time for a diaper change, he immediately replies, no, runs to the bathroom, backs himself up into the corner, and squeezes between the toilet and the walls. Every diaper change. I don't recall my son Zach ever doing anything like this. I do recall that when my son Zach would see a baby gate, or whatever random item we chose to use to block his path, he would simply acknowledge, okay, I'm not supposed to go there. Greg would find the nearest chair, or run to the bathroom, grab his step stool, place it beside the obstruction, and use it to climb over it. I know what you're all thinking. Just close the bathroom door. He can open it. Greg has figured out how to unlock every lock in our house. And outside our house, the front door, the back door, the backyard gate. One morning, I was brushing my teeth in the bathroom, watching Greg out the corner of my eye. He's in the kitchen, fidgeting with the child-proof lock under the kitchen sink. Now, I'm not worried. My mom cannot open that lock. Next thing I know, he's got the Gooby Gone spray bottle in his hands. It's pointed at his face, and he is squeezing the trigger. Thank God the nozzle is in the off position. Now, I'm not saying that Greg is a difficult one. I would never say that. But all you have to do to keep Zach safe and still is turn on the TV. He'll sit there in a trance, and he won't even blink. He loves to watch TV. Greg couldn't care less about TV. Greg has never sat still to watch anything in his life. Greg would much prefer to be outside. He likes to watch Daddy work in the garden and help water the plants and flowers with his little Captain America watering can. Or his favorite toy, the garden hose. He also really likes to water people. In his defense, he does usually end up more soaked than the rest of us. Greg loves to get wet and dirty. Zach can't stand getting wet or dirty. At all. Any amount of dirt, or even a drip of water, and he must immediately run into the house, and strip off all his clothing as if they're covered in flames. Alright, let's be honest. He's usually still outside, or at a friend's house, or wherever we might be when he removes all his clothing. Including his underwear, because it has either directly or indirectly touched the article of clothing that has been tainted. Don't get me wrong, my boys do have some things in common. They both love ice cream. That's something, right? And they both have thin, straight, blonde hair that looks absolutely nothing like mine. Nevertheless, when someone tells you she's 2 boys, don't feel bad for her. Not all boys are difficult, crazy, disgusting. Just some of them are. And don't ask inappropriate questions, like, are you gonna try again for a girl? As if that's what I was doing. Trying for a girl. Failing. Ending up with just another boy. No, I love my 2 boys, and I can assure all of you, all boys are not the same.
Garrett.
Garrett, G-A-R-E-T, is an English word that we can read in our dictionary. Please allow me to read that in Webster Dictionary. Garret, noun, a room or unfinished part of the house just under the roof. That sounds boring. And it happens to be a person's name. Show of hands if your name is in the dictionary. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not a lot. I guess Garrett's not boring after all. Today, I would like to write a letter to Webster Dictionary to recommend changing the definition of Garrett based on a person named Garrett Cosmiano, master of, wait for it, procrastination. What is procrastinate? Please allow me to read that again in the dictionary. Procrastinate, verb, to be slow or late about doing something that should be done. To delay doing something until a later time because you do not want to do it, because you're lazy, etc. Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, and Madam Chair contest. My letter will go like this. Garrett Cosmiano was born on a beautiful morning of March 26, 10 days late of his birth due date. He gave his mother an experience of 26-hour hard labor giving birth. That's Garrett. He knew how to procrastinate before he was born. He took his time coming out into this world by sucking his thumb in the comfort of his mother's womb. He didn't even start to walk until the age of 3. At 3rd grade, he started to learn at school, professionally, how to procrastinate. He got so good at it that he repeated 3rd grade. I think the master is being molded. At 5th grade, he did it again. He repeated 5th grade. On March 18, 1988, Garrett had a final exam on the day of a historic event in the Philippines, a total solar eclipse. which occurs only every 2 or 3 decades. Instead of studying, he just waited and waited and waited for the solar eclipse to happen. When he did, he gawked at the beauty of the solar eclipse. Wow! After the solar eclipse, he started studying. An hour later, he took the exam. Even though he procrastinated left and right at school, he managed to graduate at high school at the age of 15 years old. Enough of his school days, and let's look at his other life. Garrett did not have a girlfriend until the age of 21. Not that he doesn't like girls, believe me, he does. He just procrastinated. Plus, he wished he'd have learned and joined Toastmasters at his teen so he could learn to be brave enough to speak in public, especially to girls. Hi. When he met the right girl, his wife, it took him 5 years before he tied the knot. On summertime, just this summer, his daughter had a summer homework in physics. And she didn't touch that homework until a week before they start the school. I think Garrett's gene has been passed on to the next generation. His daughter started working on her homework, and she asked for help from her dad. And of course, Garrett procrastinated. He waited till the night before they started the school. They end up staying until 11 o'clock in the evening. Like father, like daughter. At work, he's no different. One time, his boss asked for a quality report that's due on the end of the day. Sure enough, Garrett delivered. He submitted the report minutes before midnight. Next time his boss asked for a report, she made sure she put in the time that is due with time zone on it, just in case. This is why I would like to write a letter. To change the definition of Garrett, instead of Garrett, room, or unfinished part of the house just under the roof, change it to Garrett. See the word procrastinate. Thank you very much.
We welcome our next contestant, Jose Azulis, a roller coaster ride. A roller coaster ride, Jose Azulis.
Roller coasters are made of ups, downs, and crazy turns. Mrs. Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. My name is Jose. People call me Jose. I am from the Dominican Republic, a Spanish-speaking country, and I was getting ready to go there over the summer. I was supposed to take a connecting flight from Rochester to New York City, from New York City to the Dominican Republic. I had everything ready. I had my luggage, my online ticket, and 4 big jars of cookies. Well, then I received a wild call from my mother.
José Javier, ¿cómo era el asunto de que tu vuelo está retrasado hasta las 5 de la mañana?
Oh, no. My flight is not delayed until 5 a.m. What are you talking about?
Ay, mi amor, tan bello, te voy a ver pronto.
No, Mom, I'm not excited in seeing you soon. So after finishing talking with my mother, I grabbed a cab and I head directly to the airport. When I arrived there, I approached the check-in counter, and the girl attending me asked me a question.
May I have your last name, please?
Sure, it's Asilis.
Oh, is it with the A, with the S, with the I, with the L, with the I, with the S?
Yeah, why?
One moment, please. I'm the one making the question here.
Okay. So while she was doing some weird stuff, I was very devious of my luggage weight. I didn't want to pay overweight. So I asked her to weigh it on the scale.
Boom!
57 pounds! Oh my God. She looks at me and she says,
See, huh? But you gotta pay $100.
Darn, Ma! I'm not paying $100. Give me the luggage here. I had the luggage, had it open, took 2 cookies out, weighed it again. Boom! 47 pounds. Okay, we're getting closer. Give me it again. Okay, put another 2 cookies. Boom! 53 pounds. No! No! After losing almost all hope, I received a message from the heavens. With a very encouraging voice telling me, Mr. Asilis,
But you gotta pay $100.
no! I grabbed my luggage. I had a backpack in there. I put everything into the backpack, put the luggage again, and weighted everything. Boom! 50 pounds. Yes! Then the girl looks at me and says,
Mr. Asilis, let me tell you something. But your flight has been canceled.
cancel! No, but I gotta take a connecting flight to Rochester, to New York City, in 7 hours. What am I gonna do?
I'm sorry, but you gotta find another way in.
So before entering into panic, I rush as fast as I can to Delta. And I asked them, hey, do you have any flights to New York City? Yeah, we have one. Oh, cool. At what time is it? 12:40, yay. Oh, but that's like 40 minutes from now. Yeah. You want one? Go, sure, okay, take everything. The girl grabs it, starts typing. Gosh, this thing's stuck. Move it. There you have, sweetheart. Okay, I grab everything and I blast myself through security. I ran as fast as I could, and when I arrived at the gate, I started to calm down. After all this commotion, breathing. Yes. Then my brain decides to take life of its own.
Jose, you seen those movies?
Wait, what movies?
Yeah, the movies. When people lose their fright, they go boom!
What?
Yeah, they go boom, 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 boom!
What are you talking about?
We're gonna die!
You go, what?
We're gonna die!
No. Wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah!
No. So my brain went haywire. I needed for a way to distract me. So I looked all over the corner in the area and I said, hey, brain, do you see that blonde girl over there?
Oh, the one in blue jeans?
Yeah, that one. Focus on her. While I had my brain distracted, I was able to go into the plane. Everything ready. And the pilot said, ladies and gentlemen, prepare to take off. And so there we are. We took the plane, it went up. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for landing. And the plane went down. Uh-oh. But the plane decided again to take flight again. I've been hearing some voices all over throughout my flight. And then they were silent. It was as if you had 35 people and you jammed them all together into a 25 capacity elevator, and some sinner would have ripped an SBD. silent but deadly fun. Everyone's faces were like, woo, woo. So we were approaching to the middle of the city, to the center of Manhattan. We're getting to the One World Trade Center, the highest and tallest tower in all New York City. It was the same feeling as if you were going into the roller coaster, all the way up, and then you could see everything down. My brain, of course, decided, we're gonna die! As we were about to lean on into the tower, my brain, no, I knew it! We're gonna die! As we're about to lean closer, and it's the same feeling as the roller coaster would go down. Do you guys want to know what happened next?
Yes.
Do you guys want to know what happened next?
Yes.
Am I not here? Are you safe whenever you go into a roller coaster? Mrs. Toastmaster.
Third place winner for our Division B evaluation contest was Terry Abbott. Terry Abbott. Our second place winner from our evaluation contest was Bob Halsworth. And our winner, advancing to the district evaluation contest for evaluation, Ashley Laura Quinn. Pause a moment for pictures. All of you get in the middle.